Good evening. My name is Christopher Edgar Caffel, and I'd like to present to you tonight my personal diet plan. Now, to do this, I'd like to get into the why I did it, the what I did, and then how I did it. But before I even start, I would like to get into when it all started. It was back in the first of the year, when we made our New Year's resolution and everything. And like me, you might have done the same thing. You made one, and 1 month later, like me, you did great. You just did fantastic. That's unmitigated boulder dash is what I say. You okay? Okay, now we got that out of the way. I didn't do good. I failed. And the reason I failed, because I didn't have a plan. I mean, I had no plan to do it correctly. And the thing was is that, I realized now I wanted to do a diet plan, and I realized I needed a plan. And the only thing I could think of is that lady at the cafeteria. She was getting her lunch, and she moves down the thing, and she gets the desserts, and she grabs the cake and the pie and the cookies and the ice cream, and then she gets by the cashier, and she goes, "I'd like a Diet Coke." And I'm like, a Diet Coke's gonna wipe all that out? I don't think so. So I said to myself, wait a second. How do you know you're not like that? You didn't have a plan. You could have deviated. You could have gone off course. If you didn't have a plan, how did you know? And that's when I realized, hey, I really do need a plan if I want to get it on a diet. Well, let's go to that. The first thing I needed was a why. Now with the why, I really didn't have a good why. So I went to my wife. I said, what do you think? And she goes, well, it would be nice if you'd hung around for a few more years. I said, well, that's good. So, health, get in shape. And then I started thinking about the grandkids and how much fun it is to play with them. And you have to be in good shape to keep up with them little ones, So I said, well, I can't do it for myself, but I could do it for my family. So that was my why. But now that I had a good enough why, I needed a what. What is the diet plan? Now, as you all know, there are hundreds of diet plans out there, all over. And it's like, I firmly believe every one of those diet plans work if that's the one you want and you comply with it, and you'll lose weight. Problem was is that I didn't really see one I liked, you see. I wanted my own personal diet plan. So I was like, well, I'll just pray on it. And I did. I waited a few days, and then all of a sudden, I got this thing inside that said, hey, if God makes it, you lose weight. If man makes it, you gain weight. And I said, that's pretty simple. For me, I don't have to memorize all the calories and all that stuff. Just think God, man, and then just keep it that simple. So here I was going, well, God makes the vegetables and the fruit. You can't gain weight doing that. I mean, you can eat as much as you want. And that replaces all the other kinds of sweet stuff. And I can do it that way. And if I take the water, replace the soda, I can do it that way. Add a little meat, well, I've got myself a diet plan. Well, now you know what my personal diet plan is. But the next thing is, how do you make this happen? Well, you just can't, and it happens, because that would be unmitigated boulder dash. I'll tell you right now, I needed a how, and there was 4 rules to my how. The first one was preparation. The second one was the lunchbox. The third one was what I call trunkology. And the fourth one is eatology. And don't worry, there's not a test, okay? Now, first of all, preparation. This is on Sunday. I would go to the grocery market, buy the fruit and buy the vegetables, take them home for the whole week, and then I'd put it in sandwich bags and divide it up in snacks and put it in the refrigerator. That way it was ready anytime I wanted it. Now that part right there is unmitigated boulder dash. Now, with that in mind, I then said, this here, if I have it prepared, I put it in the refrigerator and grab it. This will help me avoid what I call the fat food obstacle course. That's when you didn't prepare, you put it in the fridge, and now you're hungry, and you're walking there, and the obstacle course is the cake over here, and the cookies over there, and the pie over there, and you really think I'm going to make it? I don't think so. That's why I did the preparation, to make sure it was there. Now that I had that under control, I said, well, the next thing I need is a way to get it to work, because I spend 5 days at work, and I eat a couple meals there, and I'm like, how do I do that? Well, I just didn't want a lunchbox. I wanted one of those smart boxes. You know those ones that keep cold things cold and hot things hot? And then you're like, how does it know? Well, that's why I call it a smart box. So I used that to bring it to work. And that's how I got it there. And it came fresh. And I could eat it. Thank you. Well, with that, I said to myself, Well, the next step I need to learn, I'm bringing it to work, I need trunkology, which is the third thing I came up with. And that's when you fill up your car with gas. Well, picture you overfilled it, and it didn't drop on the floor, it just went in the trunk. Now think about you, your body. If you overfill your stomach, guess what? It goes to the trunk. Now, some people have their trunk here, some back here, some here. Well, we all got a trunk. Believe me, overfill it, it goes there. You'll find it. Now, with the trunkology, if you want to, just put a little bit less to shrink your stomach, kind of a little bit so you don't need so much, and you don't get full. Then your stomach starts looking in those trunks to grab the food and bring it back and burn it up, and you burn your fat. That's trunkology. Now, the next thing you have is the fourth, eatology. This means to eat before you get hungry. Now, if you take 3 meals, no matter what your diet is, you cut it in half, and you make 6 snacks, and you say, this way I eat in small portions, shrinking my stomach, but yet I eat about every 2 hours, and I don't wait to get hungry. That way, I prevent what I call the hurry-ups. See, some of you don't know about the hurry-ups. The hurry-ups is that growling you get in your stomach when you're really hungry, and you go, hey, hurry up! Hurry up! And you're like, okay. And then you're thinking you have to eat twice as much. But if you eat twice as much, you already know half goes in the stomach, the other half goes to the trunk, and then you're right back to trunkology all over again. But if you stay with eatology, you stay ahead of the game, you don't go back to trunkology. Now, with all that said and done, that kind of gives you the idea of the why, the what, and the how I did it. Now you probably went, well, did it work? Well, I want you to know I've been doing this for 9 weeks, and the same time I've known all of you. I have averaged 2 pounds per week. I am up to, as of today weigh-in, I'm up to 18 pounds. Now you're probably wondering, hey, did you exercise that time? And I'm going to tell you right now, yes, I did. But you know what? That's another story.